The weary traveler draws close to the end of the path.
Die.
Hey guys, so memes aside, I just need to discuss what changes have affected the build. Basically, the removal of Seismic Cry from this build. So those of you that don't know, Seismic Cry now no longer has that stacking increased exerted damage per attack. So Seismic Cry is removed from this build. Some of our aura setups have to change as well because of the increased mana reservation on support skills. Overall, the build has lost a lot of damage, but despite the nerfs, it's still going to be able to clear pretty much any content in the game. You might still also be able to one-shot most bosses, and overall, I'd say it's still a good choice. It's a bit simplified now, the playstyle, since Seismic Cry is removed. So without further ado, let's get into the build. Alright guys, for our Earthquake setup here, we have Earthquake supported by melee fizz damage, brutality, Fist of War, Conk Effect, and Pulverize. If you have a 5-link, prioritize Pulverize over Conk Effect and add Conk Effect once you get the 6-link. So if you're going to be mapping instead of bossing, you're going to want to take out Divergent Pulverize for less duration and Anomalous Fist of War for a standard Fist of War. Okay, for our Warcry setup, this has actually changed a bit in 3.15. Previously we were running Enduring Cry, Intimidating Cry, and Seismic Cry. Seismic Cry being the big important change. We will no longer be running Seismic Cry as it no longer has that increased exerted attack damage. So most likely we will run something like Ancestral Cry to gain some more survivability in the build. They're all supported with Second Wind. Our cast when damage taken setup is pretty simple. It's just increased duration, cast when damage taken, Immortal Call. And we have Berserker in here just for the slot. Alright, for our aura setup, there's a big change here because most support skills now have higher increased mana reserve multipliers. So with the way things are now, we'll no longer be able to have enough mana to cast Earthquake if we maintain Maim in this setup. So previously we were running Precision, Blood and Sand, Flesh and Stone, Pride, Maim support, and Enlighten. So also Enlighten can no longer be Vald, so you will have even more issues getting your reservation multiplier down. So we'll have to remove Maim from the aura setup. I'm not sure what we're going to replace it with just yet. We'll have a follow-up video on that. And where this faster attack support is in our totem setup, we would replace it with Maim and have our totem apply the Maim instead. The totem setup here, it's Ancestral Warchief Totem, supported with Life Tap, our mobility skill, and faster attacks. However, we don't need to use this faster attacks anymore, so we'll be replacing it with Maim. Alright, now for the gear you're going to want for the build. For your main weapon, you're just going to want to be able to get around a 600 DPS weapon. When it comes to crafting, for your prefixes, you're going to want to focus on your flat fizz damage roll first, and then secondary is your percentage increased fizz. For your suffixes, accuracy is good, attack speed is okay, here weapon range is useless. Getting crit multi is nice, but you don't want to get crit chance because you want to be able to craft the modifier we have here, crit chance with quality. So that's it for the weapon. For your helm slot, anything is fine as long as you've got accuracy, HP, and your resistances. If you don't have the budget, you could also get the unelevated version of the helmet, so you're just going to be missing out on that increased critical strike chance. You can also try to get the crit multi on the helm, although it's not mandatory. For your amulet, pretty much anything goes. You know, you just want to get whatever resistances, bonuses you can get. Nothing here is mandatory. Okay, so for both of your ring slots, it's very important that you harvest craft the Assassin's Mark Curse and the Vulnerability Curse. So for your chest piece, for the main stats, you just want to make sure you get as much flat life and percentage life as possible. And then mandatory is the apply an additional curse. Since we are running the 2 curses on our rings, you have to have the additional curse modifier. For your boots and glove slots, there's nothing much to say here. Just get whatever stats you need. Prioritize getting your life, your resistances. For your boots, it cannot be frozen is nice. Other than that, there's nothing much to say. If you can't afford the elevated versions of any of these pieces of gear, the unelevated versions are fine. Yeah, that's about it. So for the belt, you're gonna get some more strength, some more maximum life. If you're on a budget, you could probably do without the percentage increased maximum life. You shore up some more resistances here. With the jewel, the most important things to go for here are the accuracy rating and the global critical strike multiplier. After that, the added fizz damage with axes and the maximum life are basically interchangeable in order. So as far as progressing the build goes, when you start out, you're going to want to grab Born to Fight. Then you're going to come down over here. You're going to grab Admonisher, Art of the Gladiator, come down here, grab Destroyer on your way, grab Measured Fury. You're going to come down here. You probably skip Disciple of the Slaughter for now. You come back to it later. Come up and grab Feller of Foes. Don't grab Iron Reflexes just yet. We're going to take that later. You could come over here, grab Executioner and Dismembering. Then you're going to want to come up and on your way back up to get Escalation, you grab Unwavering Stance. Once you get Unwavering Stance, then you can take Iron Reflexes. Once you've gotten Escalation, then you can fill out sort of the rest of the build. Just grab the nodes as you go. To explain this cluster jewel setup, basically with this cluster jewel here, the priority for the passive skills you want to get, it's Graceful Execution, Martial Prowess, and Martial Mastery in that order. And the reason we're stacking a bit of strength is actually so we can reach the threshold for Martial Mastery at 600 strength. The medium jewels here, the most important thing here is Cry Wolf for our war cries. And on the end jewels, it's just important that for this one we get our immunity to corrupted blood, and for this one we get You Cannot Be Hindered. Both of these are very important. Now for the Ascendancy, first you're going to want to come up here and grab Warbringer. After Warbringer, you're going to grab Aspect of Carnage for more damage. After that, it's up to you to decide whether you want to take Flawless Savagery first or Defy Pain. When you take Defy Pain, so the reason we stack a lot of reduced reflected physical damage taken is so that we can reduce the amount of damage we take reflected back upon us from our Defy Pain. So if you don't have enough of these reduced reflected physical damage jewels just yet, you could probably take Flawless Savagery first. But if you do Defy Pain, it's a great way to add a lot of survivability to this deck, to this build. So you can see we're stacking it everywhere. And Watcher's Eye here, by the way, it's not mandatory. You should focus on getting the other aspects of the build in place first. And then once you can grab the Watcher's Eye. But yeah, other than that, also here I need to mention it's important that you have at least one jewel with Mana Leech. Otherwise you're going to run into mana problems with the build. I'll leave some clips here to play at the end so you can see how the build played before. The only main change that will happen between these clips and how the build is played now is that you no longer have to stack up to the 5th hit of Seismic Cry. So you're more free to attack at any point. The most important thing is that you have your Berserk and your Ancestral Totem down.
Storming in here like that. Completely disrespectful. I need...
Ah, good stuff. Kate, need a hand?
You fight well in a cave.
I am